Raleigh SuperCon, how we doing, guys? Welcome, everyone, to the live How Did This Get Booked podcast. Let's give out, come on, all of you. Oh, I'm so excited that y'all are in the room right here, right now. This is actually our second live podcast. First one I almost had a stroke at, so thank you for showing up for free and maybe seeing a man die today. But let's start this podcast as we always do, Zane.
If you keep walking around like that, you're going to have a stroke today.
I'm trying to fill this room with energy, Zane Riley.
We understand why you're all here, and it's because we know Trish Stratus is right after our show.
It's quite okay. You got a prime seat for Trish Stratus, but you got an even better seat for How Did This Get Booked. And to introduce myself, my name is Jake Manning. I'm a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined, as always, by my friend, my cosplay tag team partner and buddy, the Dusty Rhodes of FSCW.
Yes, baby.
And surprisingly, also the Brutus the Barber Beefcake of FSCW. My good friend, Zane Riley. Give it up for Zane.
Hello. You be all the energy, I'll be all the sadness, because do you know what we're talking about today, or did you just see seats and you're like, I'm going to sit down? The Wrestler.
Okay.
Holy shit. Oh,
so by show of hands, how many of you have seen the movie The Wrestler? 2008.
Wow.
Okay, good. Just you, Spider-Man, haven't seen it. We'll tell you what. Here's the DVD. Go watch it right now. We'll wait. So we got the room all day.
We got time. We'll tell Trish Stratus to hold off. She's cool, man.
It's cool.
Me and T-Stats talked last night. It's great.
T-Stat, is that her
We're
nickname?
on that level now.
You're on that level right now?
Did you sit the hell down?
No.
God.
Listen. See, I got him doing work now, so.
Rey Mysterio sat in this chair a little while ago.
Sit, tell you what, you go ahead, sit down, I'll sit down and make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
How about that?
Rey Mysterio sat in this chair a little bit ago. I'm pretty sure he farted in it. And so now I'm just going to kind of bask in what he left behind for us.
Yes. But we are discussing the movie The Wrestler, the 2008 The Wrestler, not the 1974 one with Ed Asner, if you're confused on that one. So there are two different wrestlers.
Then I am ill-prepared.
But just give some of the particulars. It's listed as a 2008 movie, but it was released in 2009. So just make it more confusing for everybody. It obviously stars Mickey Rourke, Marissa Tomei, who's reprising her role as Aunt May in this movie. So this movie, The Wrestler, is a part of the MCU, if you guys didn't know that. This is what Aunt May does on the weekends.
This is all canon.
To support Spider-Man and his endeavors in being a superhero. Also, too, in this movie, you have Evan Rachel Wood from Westworld. So the whole time I'm just thinking about Dolores. And I think the line, these violent delights have violent ends, is probably the best way to describe the Wrestler movie.
Which, if you have never listened to our podcast before, you know that there's always some tunnel he takes to get to Westworld and tries to make that work all of a sudden.
Well, I figure Westworld doesn't have enough viewers, and we need to use our platform to shine a light on some indie small projects and let people know about it. So
well, I'm an indie worker, so I can't afford HBO.
Yeah, but you can probably find an illegal stream like an indie wrestler, right?
Oh, shoot.
But Evan Rachel Wood, I should note, was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, which
this guy.
Which actually brings us to our special guest. Rachel, come on out. Evan Rachel Wood, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, she's not coming out. Not coming out. You guys didn't buy that for a second. You guys were here for Trish Stratus early, and you were going to get Evan with Rachel Wood. Good luck with that.
We couldn't even get Rachel Freeman to walk out here.
No, we couldn't. We couldn't get her. We couldn't even get her. But the movie was directed by Darren Aronofsky and written by Robert D. Siegel, who also wrote the movie The Founder. So basically, Siegel's genre of movies is movies that have the word "the" at the beginning of it. So that's what he's known for. Interesting fun fact, Nicolas Cage was actually supposed to star in Mickey Rourke's role.
Yes, he was.
At one point in time, they even did the research, but Rourke was always Aronofsky's number one choice. But there was a dark horse candidate in casting. According to a Howard Stern interview, Hulk Hogan said he was considered for the part. To which Darren Aronofsky claims that all that was false. So just goes to prove how much we miss the Ultimate Warrior, Roddy Piper, and Randy Savage just to call Hogan on his BS. Like, that's why we miss them the most, because this is what happens when the good people die. You just have Hulkamania full of lies running wild. So
now, other items to this story involve the real reason that Nicolas Cage didn't do it is because he figured the only way that he could get in shape to look like this kind of washed up but still in shape wrestler was to do steroids. That is the only reason. He said, I'm not going to do steroids. And it's the only way I could look like it. So I didn't do it. And then Mickey Rourke didn't even like the movie.
Yeah, and then another thing about Nicolas Cage, like, had a problem taking steroids, but not all the other drugs in the world. So that's the interesting part. But Mickey Rourke, like, yeah, I'll get juiced up. I got no problem with that. Also, too, Mickey Rourke didn't like pro wrestling, didn't like the script, but that's okay, guys. He still got a WrestleMania payday.
Yeah.
Just let you know. It's okay. It's a happy ending.
And here I am sitting in Rey Mysterio's fart.
Roddy Piper actually admittedly cried after the screening of this movie, but that's not saying a lot because Roddy Piper cried at the beginning of Up. But who hasn't? So
I cried at the beginning of Up.
Yeah.
I actually watched Up instead of The Wrestler today, so
it's going to be a little bit weird crossover. You want to jump into the opening sequence of this thing?
let's go ahead and we're going to rock and roll through this real fast. We only have 50 minutes. You guys are waiting for Trish Stratus.
Yeah,
we're down to 43 minutes. This movie's an hour and 49.
All I can say is, like, by the end of this podcast, we're going to have, like, maybe 200 people in here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
So we're going to end real strong.
So I've saved all the best jokes for the end. So if you're laughing now, you'll be rolling in the aisles by the end of this.
And, like, if a lot of people start to walk in, like, at one point, just start laughing so loud. I'll give you guys a high sign when a lot of people walk up. And then just start bawling laughing, and let's just kind of make them feel like they missed the best panel all weekend.
Exactly. But before we get to the end, let's get to the beginning with the opening sequence. It's basically just a bunch of magazine covers of Lex Luger with Mickey Rourke's superimposed over top, which is basically the open sequence, which that was always my biggest problem with this movie is you don't get to see how big of a superstar Randy the Ram is. I always felt like you needed some sort of in-ring action, and you could have cast at this time Christian York, who looks just like Mickey Rourke at this time. Yeah. Like ECW fame, he was jacked, he had blonde hair, looked exactly like Randy the Ram. So that was always my thing.
Yep, that was good. Hey.
Good. All right.
That's a good little good person they could have casted, but they didn't. They just used old pictures of current Mickey Rourke, and he looked like garbage.
Well,
he looks like he'd work in a deli.
Yeah, or get changed in a rec center child's play care area.
Which he was the only one in there. So it was good for him. He got his own locker room.
Yeah, like, that's another thing that's weird, too. Like, he gets his own locker room at indie shows. Like, space is a premium when you're getting dressed at an indie show.
There were no wrestlers' girlfriends back there. There were no loud kids. There were no fans and whatnot just sneaking in the back.
There were no, like, owners of the rec center complaining about people dumping trash on the ground. Like, there was none of that.
Now, there was a guy in the back that was shorting him on money, and that does check out. That's canon.
And he didn't beat the crap out of him right away. Like, I don't...
Ricky just took it. Like, he's like, okay.
Ricky Morton wouldn't stand for that, okay? Like, and he's taken more beatings in this business than anybody else. So
he did die, and then he just came back.
Yeah, but the soundtrack of this movie is brought to you by Hair Nation, if you were just curious about that. So,
Slash played all of the music on this, like just the regular instrumental guitar parts.
Oh, so like
Slash,
the really sad guitar that's playing in the background at all moments in time. Like there's a sad guitar that plays, especially we'll jump ahead even to the convention scene since we're talking about the sad guitar. That sad guitar that's playing in the background in the very sad convention scene at an American Legion building. When I'm at a really bad convention or a bad wrestling show, I'll come up to Zane or Caleb Conley and be like, hey, can you hear it? It's the sad guitar from The Wrestler, because this is where we are in our lives. So that's the soundtrack to my sadness, if you're curious what's going on in my head.
A slow guitar played by Slash. Starts playing Sweet Child of Mine?
Yeah.
But really slow.
Really slow. You want to talk about him working at the deli and his boss being comedian Todd Barry. One clap for Todd Barry, and that's all he deserves. Apparently, not a nice person.
He did it. You guys are missing the best podcast you've never heard.
Todd Barry, from what I've heard, is not the nicest guy to deal with. There's actually a story of a comic picking up Todd Barry at the airport, and Todd Barry was on his phone, and the comedian was just trying to make small talk, and Todd Barry said, "You don't have to do that," and just was quiet the rest of the drive to the hotel room.
You can do that? I've been needing to tell these Uber drivers that for a long time.
So just give you an idea of Todd Barry, why he was cast for it to be the biggest prick in the entire movie. So
Definitely the biggest dickhead.
But there was also some other comedians that were up for some roles. Dave Attell and Artie Lang were up for, I believe, one of the promoters. Which I would have loved to have seen Artie Lang as a wrestling promoter, because that tracks with every wrestling promoter I've ever in my life. Also the drug habit, too. All fits in perfectly.
Except he would have died at the show instead of the Ram.
Yeah, that was the thing. They've been filming the movie, and Artie Lang dies. Like, well, we have to write into this promoter dies on top of the wrestler. How about that?
It would have been a real Brandon Lee situation where he died during filming, so they had to just add in his parts.
But let's talk about the indie show where he's wrestling the young kid, and he makes a comment like, "Hey, the people that make the decisions drive that drive the Cadillacs and all the politics." And he goes, "Just keep working, kid." And I remember when this movie came out, this was like a very dark time in indie wrestling. This wasn't a time when the Young Bucks were making six figures on T-shirt sales. This wasn't a time that Ring of Honor and New Japan were headlining Madison Square Garden. No, when they said that there was no hope for a young kid in this business, I believed it, because I didn't see
here he is.
That light at the end of the tunnel was a train for me in 2009.
I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in 2009, 2010.
So
I was just getting in the game. And then as I rewatched all of this, I think I'm quitting this weekend. I think this is it for me. I'm just going to go out on top like this. It only goes down.
Yeah, I feel like what he should have said, if you're going to do if George Lucas was going to come in and redo this, they'd come in and the line would be, just the guys that are making driving the Cadillacs and the politics, don't worry, just keep working until 2006 when everybody gets signed. Like, that's what he should say. But we see a lot of wrestler cameos. We see Black G's, Papa Don, Kevin Matthews, Chuck Taylor. I think Adam Cole is even in this. A very young Adam Cole. Also, too, we'll get to another special cameo here in a little bit. I'm very excited to talk about, but we need to talk about where he goes with his free time, which is the strip club, to visit Aunt May and support her and Spidey.
He's just trying to be Uncle Ben's side piece. He's like, I'll take Uncle Ben's place.
Yeah, how weird would it have been if Uncle Ben was actually Mickey Rourke? Like, that would have been...
He didn't die. He just retired then and became a great-grandfather to a child.
Even interesting twist, what if when Spider-Man was at the wrestling show, what if he was wrestling Randy the Ram?
Oh.
And then the robbery happens, Uncle Ben dies, and the wrestler that Spidey wrestled was Randy the Ram and ends up hooking up with his Aunt May.
Whoa.
Boom. Mind blown.
Then he was the villain in Iron Man 3. Mickey Rourke was, right? Was that 3 or 2?
It's 2. It's 2.
Iron Man 2. So then that brings us back, and then the entire time Uncle Ben's like, man, that guy looks familiar.
Yeah. See, it all works out in the end. It all shakes out. But yeah, he's at the strip club, which these young indie kids don't know any. I was like the last generation where we romanticized drug habits and going to the strip club after wrestling shows. Like, now they just play PlayStation. That's all they do now. So, but, see?
Jason Cade, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get the steroid scene, the guy that lays out all the prices of the steroids.
That guy does not exist at a Planet Fitness. I've looked. He is not there.
Well, I'll tell you why you haven't seen him.
We tried to buy Viagra from a Planet Fitness for years.
Yeah. There's a lot of judgment there, but I'll tell you why you haven't seen him anywhere, or especially at a Planet Fitness, is because shortly after this movie, he got locked up for selling actual steroids. No. So
life imitating art, imitating life.
Exactly. So yeah, it was shortly after this movie, locked up, made the news. But then we get to the match with Necro Butcher.
Yeah.
When he is calling the match with Necro the way the Necro's calmly talking to you, I will put together like this. How do you feel about the staple gun? And that's...
Staple gun.
I have wrestled the Necro Butcher. That's exactly how he talks in real life. It is scary considering you know how violent that man is.
He owns skin suits. Made of real skin.
Screw that. He lives in West Virginia. That's the scariest part about the Necro Butcher. That is the scariest part about him.
Art imitating life, imitating art.
But I've wrestled Necro Butcher before, and I'll never forget he was fine, and I was a little nervous about it, but he was super cool. He took care of me. And then there was one spot where he put the chair in the corner, and he was going to do a spot. And right before he did the spot, he was going to whip me in, and the chair fell. And I was like, it's okay, we can do this. And right as I about ready to say that, his foot came right across my face, and he just kicked me in the face as hard as he could. And he goes, "Fah!" I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't make the chair fall. So you didn't have to punish me. I felt like he was so pissed about the spot being blown, but he just kicked me right in the face as hard as he could.
I mean, my Necro story is more so that night one of the Gathering of the Juggalos, he showed up to wrestle of a 5-night week. And then on day 2, he did a lot of drugs and ran off into the woods. And they didn't find him for like 3 days. And they just didn't know where he was. Oh, Dylan's in the woods.
Another Necro Butcher from the Gathering story. My favorite image of Necro Butcher at the Gathering is seeing him walk around with a microwave in the woods trying to find a place to plug it in. Like, have you ever seen a man try and plug in a microwave in a forest? Because I have.
This man's a Mensa member.
Yeah, he's actually very smart.
He is a legit genius.
He is. He burns through books in seconds. He's amazing. He's a idiot savant. So.
And now he's just some idiot in the woods trying to plug in a microwave.
But during the CZW scene, we get to see. I was going to think of a better term other than the owner. Stallworth, longtime competitor, but owner of CZW, DJ Hyde. And the reason why you can definitely see him in the background is because he does the big...
Let's actually, before you tell them what it is, let's just recreate it for them.
Yes, there is a moment.
Right. You be Mickey Rourke.
Yes, because
I'll be DJ Hyde.
I'm an old piece of leather, and I've been chewed up and spit out. And
that camera back there will be the camera.
Yeah, because let me explain to why this is so weird. In movie making industry, extras aren't supposed to look directly down the barrel of a camera. Like, that's a big no-no. And I'm going to post this screen cap on our Facebook page, How Did This Get Booked? And I'll also put it on my Twitter account, @ManScoutManning. So for everybody who's listening to this podcast right now, you can see it. But instead of putting it up on a screen, we're going to reenact what this screenshot looks like. So I'm Mickey Rourke. I'm bloody and disgusting and beat up, which isn't a stretch for how I look right now. Leaning back in a chair. And then Zane will be playing the part of DJ Hyde. So here we go.
All right, and run scene. And
scene. There we go. So, give it up for a live performance, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. A little piece of intro.
We're also a sketch comedy group. You guys could have been seeing pineapple-shaped lamps, but you're here.
Yeah, you're here. But like I said,
hopefully I didn't remind any of you that pineapple-shaped lamps is playing next door, and you're gonna run away. Go! No, you're doing it.
They're going to come over and beat us up. Don't worry. It's going to be an improv versus podcast fight, which could only happen at a comic book convention, by the way, I'll let you know. But yeah, go to our Facebook page to look at How Did This Get Booked, and then, of course, my Twitter page, @ManScoutManning for that. Let's see what else we got here.
You wrote Facebook page very large.
I did. I wrote Facebook page, and then the time code when that screen cap happens. Goes to the hospital. Freaks out. Goes to the hospital. And I like how he freaks out when he wakes up, because when I saw it the first time, like, oh, he's freaking out waking up in the hospital because he's going, oh, crap. I've got a huge hospital bill now. Get me out of here quickly as possible. I can't pay for this. Stop. Like, that's what he's freaking out about. Like, and I like that little there's little nods in there that a pro wrestler can see, and regular people that have good insurance don't understand. So
art imitating life, imitating art. Imitating life.
We also get to meet, we get the story with the daughter now. He's like, hey, since I almost died, might as well, meet my daughter, or look up at, check in on her.
About to die, might as well be a dad. Sounds like someone else that got a movie made about him for that. One guy used to carry a snake around. Yeah, that's my dig at Jake the Snake Roberts. Suck it. I don't even care. Is he here?
Which brings us to our special guest of the evening, Jake the Snake Roberts, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go.
And then we get into the convention scene with the sad guitar, yada, yada, yada. Coat shopping with a stripper, because who hasn't done that before? The meat counters scene.
Now, hold on. If I'm going to go shopping for my estranged daughter that I have not seen in many a year, I'm not taking a stripper with me. Like, what is the gift that she would be like, oh, get your daughter this here thong and strap on set?
No, that's the exact person you want to go, because she's going to get the...
But he took the suede jacket instead of the peacoat.
Well, he got both of them. And then he presents them to his daughter. And I feel like when he gave those two jackets, he gave the green jacket first, which was the ugly-looking one. And I feel like he was like, oh, if she accepts this one, I'm not going to give her the pea coat. I'm going to go back and get my money back for this one.
I like to think that he gave her that coat. He's like, please don't like it, so he could wear it as a ring jacket.
Yeah, I think he was just like, he's like, oh, if she likes the green jacket, she's definitely my daughter. And then she's like, oh, the pea coat, this is far better. Like,
no, you are not mine.
You are with that
You
woman.
must have been Jerry Lawler's kid.
The meat counter scene. Speaking of Jerry the King Lawler, I don't know, that's a nice transition, right?
Yeah. You guys know, Jerry Lawler, the meat counter. They've always called him the meat counter.
Because Jerry Lawler owns a barbecue restaurant in Memphis, Tennessee. That's how we bring it back.
Worked it full circle, handing out potato salad.
The meat counter scene apparently were all improvised, and actually Aronofsky's parents or family members were some of the patrons of the meat counter.
We're talking about Happy Deli scene, right?
Happy and sad, I think.
Okay.
I'm not for sure if the lady goes a little less, a little more was Aronofsky's mom or not. I don't know what Aronofsky's relationship with his mom is, if he wants her to play a mean lady at a deli counter or not. So that's on them. So, but we were burning right through. You get to see a fight with Cassidy, which is Aunt May, and then he's out of the business. His heart doesn't work as well anymore, but he just can't stay away. So what better place to see a pro wrestling show than going to the Raleigh Rec Center to see Ron the Truth Killings take on Romeo Rosselli? Am I right? Like if you're like, I really miss wrestling. Know what I want to see? Romeo Rosselli versus Ron Killings. That's...
You know, what's up? What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Little Jimmy was there. You just couldn't see him.
Damn, what's up? You didn't see what's up? Damn, what's up? What's up? What is up, Zane? I got a question.
Well, now that you said that, is he gonna do you think he'll go down as one of the unheld pioneers of mumble rap? R-Truth has been doing this since the 90s, and now just today we have the Migos and Lil Yachty, favorite rapper. So I think R-Truth. I'm putting it in now. R-Truth, creator of the mumble rap.
Oh, okay. So
A lot of white people here, they don't listen to rap. That's cool. Man over here got it. He's got soul.
He's actually hiding his face right now in embarrassment because he's like, oh, there's truth being laid down on this podcast.
There's some R-Truth being laid down right now.
What's up?
What is
Question, Zane.
Yes.
Have you ever been to a fireman party before?
Brother. I have a fireman's costume in my bag at all times just in case this scene ever breaks out in life.
And you never want to walk into an Applebee's bathroom when a wrestler's involved because you never know what you're going to walk into. So.
It's the only place I want to walk into.
And then, of course, he has that deep coke sleep and oversleeps his date with his daughter, who yells at him and calls him every name in the book and calls him a complete and utter F-up in life. And I got to let you guys know, as someone who struggles with depression and is going through a rough patch in his life, this conversation happens in my head to myself every morning in the mirror. So I'm not sad.
I was going to make a reference about doing the nap related drug that you just mentioned, but then a bunch of kids walked in.
Sleep.
I was just saying a lot of kids walked in.
I didn't say the F word, but we can say coke sleep. I was told we were allowed to say
that. So
we
just did a bunch of coke we got here, then that's it. I'm just going to sleep through this podcast.
But you didn't oversleep to go to the deli scene, the angry deli scene.
The one.
The one.
And this was a little more, a little less later, too.
A little more, a little less. And then, in true wrestler fashion, if you're going to quit, you got to do it dramatically. And I love
cutting off your thumb.
Yeah, basically cutting your hand and then taking the long way through the entire grocery store to leaving. Like it's so funny. It's like Mickey Rourke was like, "I'm gonna leave now," and the scene like just. I could see Aronofsky being like, all right, Mickey, really explore the space when you're quitting. And he's just like, I'm done with this place. I'm done with this place. I quit. Screw this place. F you.
There's a deleted scene where the stock boy comes up and goes, damn it. Not again.
Yeah, there was a time when they employed Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and he quit the same exact way. That's... So we get to him finally saying he's back on for the rematch with Ernest the Cat Miller.
Big Ernest the Cat Miller following over here.
And that you should. He is a 5-time world karate champion, if you let you know. So, and then, of course, Cassidy leaves work, and she leaves her stripper shoes in the locker room, which apparently was intentional because they're like, because pro wrestlers leave their boots in the ring when they retire, which is my least favorite thing about professional wrestling that you know about. So
you know you got to keep all those boots? You just have a million boots of all the
Yeah, because I'm usually taking down the ring, and there's so many times like, get your damn boots out of the ring. I got to take this ring down. So, but
which, as anyone knows that's ever visited a strip club enough, strippers don't retire. They don't quit. They don't get fired. You just come in whenever you want. You leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
You make your own hours.
Yeah, it's like a Planet Fitness that doesn't sell steroids.
Blown away.
We get to him about ready to go out to a Ring of Honor show, and they play Sweet Child of Mine, which actually Axl Rose let him use for free because of the budget of the movie. Fun fact there. And I love the line that Randy the Ram says right before he walks to the ring, where he says, "The only place I get hurt is out there. This world doesn't give a shit about me," which will be on my tombstone. If you're ever curious what's going to be on my tombstone, it's that line right there. So.
And if you'd have gone a couple more minutes with that entrance or that run around the area here, we would have been writing it today.
And then, of course, he goes to the match. He struggles through it. And Ernest Cat Miller, real dick, because he chops him right in his bypass scar. Like, that's...
Which is what killed him.
Like, if he was any type of worker. Like, I understand he's like, all right, tell you what, I'll be the heel, you're the face. And they're like, done. No, the one more conversation, like, don't chop me in my bypass scar. How about that?
Heart punch.
Yeah. Like, what a dick move. And then, of course, the movie fades to black. And we don't know about Randy the Ram's fate until Aronofsky does an AMA. And somebody asks, like, hey, what happened to Randy Ram at the end of The Wrestler? And Aronofsky's like, yeah, he died. So
he was like, yeah, have you seen Spider-Man?
So, the most uplifting movie about professional wrestling of all time?
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
More like...
as opposed to what other movie?
More like question mark, exclamation point, question mark, for those of you that know the How Did This Get Booked logo.
I mean, the only other wrestling movie competition it had was Nacho Libre.
Well, I think if
And that was way uplifting.
But I think if you let Nacho Libre run for another 20 minutes, I think it gets very, very dark. We don't know what's going on in that orphanage. Like, I don't know what the relationship was with those monks and pastors and stuff like that with those kids.
I mean, it is a Catholic church.
I'm just saying, if Aronofsky directed Nacho Libre, it'd be a much darker film.
But then the guy that did Nacho Libre did The Wrestler, way better, and it would be all about our truth and what was up.
Yes. We got probably about 15 more minutes and stuff like that. I want to open up to some questions and stuff like that. I mean,
You watched it recently and remember something that we may have missed?
We kind of ran through this because we wanted to cover everything because I wrote down these jokes and I want to make sure I get all of them in. But if you guys saw something and you thought something's funny, I believe this microphone's hot and live. Come on up and go ahead and just pop up there. Anybody got anything they want to discuss?
Or honestly, if you don't even have a question about this movie and you just want to say something with absolutely no context, period, go for it.
Yeah, there's a live microphone this is gonna go on iTunes, so by all means.
Have to be about wrestling.
And actually, tell you what, to sweeten the pot, I meant to do this.
I've got all these crappy folded up posters.
I have posters for the wrestler that have been sitting in my office for about a decade. So everybody that comes up and asks a question or talks on the microphone or says anything about this movie, you will get a free folded up poster that's been sitting in the Man Scout Manning's office at the high spots for the last decade.
You there, young Necro Butcher.
Yeah, name and question.
Guys, big fan. Wanted to know what
Why?
would be a better name for the wrestler than the wrestler? Like, if you had the chance to rework the title,
man.
what would you do?
The Jake Manning life story. But here's a poster. No, what do you think, Zane?
CTE and me.
So,
Family Guy.
anybody else? Anybody else want another free poster? I got a half a dozen of these.
Literally about anything.
Really about anything.
Hell yeah, Cthulhu lady.
So you guys had some pretty funny anecdotes about Necro Butcher. Did you have any other great stories about any of the other wrestlers that appeared in the movie?
Oh, there's a free poster.
Good. You can't tell anything about Adam Cole. Yeah, take your phone call.
Oh gosh.
Get off that phone.
There we go.
Okay, not a problem. Yes. Yeah, I heard you. Not a problem, I got you. You can
Sorry,
send me a
well,
picture, and I'm going to see if I can pick it up.
Yeah, guys, be quiet. This guy's on the phone.
Okay, not a problem. All right, later. All right, bye.
Give it up for this guy, everybody.
You're not getting a free poster for taking a phone call on our podcast, just to let you know. I've got a limited amount of these are a limited edition. You're not getting a poster for that. But this young lady in the Cthulhu t-shirt asked if we had any interesting stories about any other wrestlers. I think the one that I would like to share, and it goes back to DJ Hyde, is DJ Hyde also trains people at the CZW school, and he's legendary at telling some of the young wrestlers, he goes, hey, whatever move you want to do, I can do it. You go out, you guys want to learn how to do the Phoenix Splash? I can do it. Anything off the top rope, tilt-a-whirl head scissor, hurricanrana, I can do it. And for those of you who don't know how big, that's basically like Zane Riley saying he can do a shooting star press. So
I can. Like if we, oh man, we're about out of time, or I'd go ahead and do it. I don't have really so much a story about anyone in it, but I went to the movies to see it. And one time I did a podcast where a guy answered his phone during it and loudly talked, and then I recorded him do it. He's now texting. You're my favorite person ever.
But I do have a lot of Adam Cole stories, but I don't want to put them on
can't tell
record.
them
I can't talk about any of the Adam Cole stories. They are. I'll tell you after the podcast if you want. We got merch in the back.
But you can't tell anybody either, because he might lose his job.
Yeah, he might lose his job over it. Maybe his girlfriend too. I don't know. No, he's a sweet individual, and we had a lot of fun together. So that's all I'll say about it. Who's next? Wants to come with another poster?
My name's Greg. I'm just go to a lot of local shows, and I really enjoyed the Revolt angle y'all did back in PWX a few years ago.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wondered if y'all had any stories for PWX or anything like that.
Well, he got fired horribly,
Yeah,
and
I got fired from there. So,
and I quit before that. Now I'm back.
I
so
don't go anymore, so
it's okay.
it's a drive.
no, I'll tell that story, because screw them. So there it was. It was my birthday. And I had gone to not a competitor show, another show. And was just hanging out, doing a little stuff backstage, not wrestling, not being seen by anybody. And the promoter was like, hey, man, I'm going to bring you in the ring since it's your birthday. We got another birthday coming out. just kind of acknowledge if you don't mind. And I was like, absolutely, do not do that. I promise, please do not do that. And so they announced the other person that was whose birthday it was, and he was physically handicapped. So like he had really hard issues walking and whatnot. And I just happened to be walking by, and they go, "Oh yeah, and it's Zane Riley's birthday." And I was like, "Oh crap!" And so like I started to help this kid get in the ring because the person that was trying to help him in the ring was like holding the ropes down, but also like holding his arms so he couldn't really get in. It was really weird. So like I helped him get in, and then a picture was taken, and then an hour later I got a phone call that I was fired for having a birthday and helping a handicapped person into a wrestling ring. Yeah, suck it.
And then also too, he
Somebody
was
call Meltzer.
and also too, he was also late to a show for saving a bunch of dying orphans in a fire. And he got fired because of that too. So
I am El Generico.
he has a hard knock
This is that Iron Man moment at the very end. We have about posters for 3 more questions.
3 more questions. We got 3 more posters,
And again, doesn't
comments,
have to be
anybody,
wrestling.
anything whatsoever.
We can talk about our favorite gas station sweet treat. We've
We-
had real good conversations about that one.
Absolutely. But we are a little bit close. We got about 10 more minutes. What were some other things about the movie The Wrestler that you liked or we missed or we kind of glazed
Oh,
over?
wait, uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Savis. We are vamping for time. I appreciate that.
I noticed, yeah, that's why I came. I actually saw you at the Night of the Champion for Omega Wrestling a while back.
Oh, thank
yeah,
you so
I
much.
just remembered
appreciate
that.
it. Thank you.
But my story, my question was,
If
what's
you
like?
got a story, tell your story.
Oh,
We
no
got
story
time.
here.
Yeah, we have. Trish Stratus will not be here for 23 more minutes.
Well, I don't think I can outdo that, actually. I have 23 minutes of story in me, I don't. But what's the worst story you've had? Maybe you can like censor a name, but like a worst story from a famous wrestler or anyone.
Oh, okay.
Backstage.
There's a free poster. Zing, you go ahead. I've got about a 6-minute bit that I'm working on stand-up wise, and I'll run it by you guys
Actually,
about
why
that.
don't you do the bit? Because I might not really have an answer.
Okay, we'll tell you what. I also do stand-up comedy.
Okay, I can do a real quick one because he's in this movie.
Yeah.
So that piece of crap, DJ Hyde. Yes, all the stories that I really have is just how DJ Hyde happens. And it also, there's another wrestler named Greg Excellent to set this up. He's a big, like an idol of mine. But he is another large bearded comedic wrestler, which I am a comedic wrestler. I think you figured out the rest of the stuff. So it was the very first time I'd ever went to CZW, and I was like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Hyde? My name is Zane Riley. I came up with Caleb Conley. I know your show was booked and whatnot, but if anything happens and you need extra help, please let me know. And he looks at me and he goes, I already have a Greg Excellent. What do I need you for? And that was the only thing he said to me for 9 years. And then I started help running Queens of Combat, the ladies wrestling show. And he came down for one. And he goes, why don't we ever talk? Because 9 years ago you said this to me. And he goes, really? He's like, I got to get you up there now. And I go, but you already have Greg Excellent. What do you need me for? And I walked out.
It all comes back around.
Yeah. And One Trick Pony started playing.
You ever seen the one-legged band dance his way home? You ever seen that? For me, I think the worst thing that's happened to me, or like a rough story, and especially goes along with the wrestler, is I got knocked unconscious during a 10-man tag team match in Florida, which is the last place you want to get knocked unconscious at.
Florida man is real.
And it was for Full Impact Pro. It was the loser 10-man tag team tournament for the Jeff Peterson Cup. I got knocked out, but luckily they had a medical staff on hand. And when I say medical staff, I mean 2 referees sitting in the corner eating a hot dog. And they basically, one of them grabbed me by the right wrist, the other one grabbed me by the left wrist, drugged me to the back, and left me for dead. I immediately woke up, and see, I was a big part of the finish of the match. So if I didn't get back out there, that match would still be going on today. So I'm in the back, and I'm trying to, like, remember my spots. And I don't know if you guys have ever been knocked out before, but it's like restarting a computer. And when you restart a computer, you start all the way from the beginning. So I started remembering things from my life. Like I started remembering grew up as a poor kid, like so poor that we had to buy GoBots instead of Transformers. And then I had a flashback to the day where I realized we weren't poor. My parents were just saving money for their dream house to build so they can live in after I go to college.
As soon as you got out.
As soon as I got out. And then all of a sudden, like, Sugar Dunkerton walked up to me.
Or Sugar Shane Helms.
Sugar Shane Helms. It could have been the same person. I was knocked unconscious.
A or B,
they looked the same to me at that point in
alike.
time. But he walked up to me. He's like, Jake, are you okay? You okay? And he's like, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Because that's what you do when somebody gets knocked out. And I looked right at him, and I said, my name is Tommy Rich. Because I'd been doing my Tommy Rich impersonation all weekend long, and I wanted to let him know, like, hey, I'm okay. I just remembered everything. I can go back out there. But to an observer, I know that looks odd, because you just saw a man get knocked unconscious, drugged to the back, left for dead, woke up, said he was former NWA champion Tommy Rich, and his friend was like, he's good to go. Go back out there.
And then everyone in the crowd goes, man, Tommy Rich looks like garbage.
Yeah, and I started walking the ring like Tommy Rich, like, ugh. Like I was like the Walking Dead version of Jake Manning, and everybody in the 10-man tag is like, don't let Jake back in, don't let Jake back in. And I immediately tagged myself back in, maybe not even to the right team. And I immediately body slam whoever was in the ring, and I communicate to everybody in the ring that we are going home right now. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the way secrets revealed, the way we communicate is we send signals to the referee, or we whisper to each other, we talk to each other. This is how I told everybody in the ring that we're going home. We're going home right now! Immediately climbed to the top rope and did a diving headbutt and landed on my head again. Because it's the second head trauma that gives you the brain damage, just let you know.
And in case you were wondering, for my AMA, I'll tell you that Jake Manning died that night.
And then immediately I finish the match. I go to the back and immediately pass out again. Two same referees dragged me to the same spot in the locker room and left me for dead. And that's what happened. But for a long time, I harbored a lot of resentment for the guy who did the dive off the top rope that kicked me back, and it was A.R. Fox. But as I saw the footage years later, it wasn't A.R. Fox that hit me. What happened was when I fell backwards, the base of my spine hit a guardrail on the way down, and that's what knocked me completely out. So I had to apologize to A.R. Fox. But as far as that guardrail, though, I murdered its family. If you're curious, I melted it down to a stainless steel toilet, and I poop and crap on it every day. So, but that's my awful story right there. So that brings us almost to, anybody else got anything more before we wrap it up? Go ahead, Tyler. Here's another free limited edition
I'll
poster.
donate that to anybody else that wants one.
Long-time listener, second-time caller.
Yeah. Do you guys have any good stories about like having to smarten a fan up that's like jumped in the ring or jumped a guardrail, or your favorite one that you've seen somebody do or something like that?
You want this one?
The best time I've ever seen it, I was in this match, and it was in Spartanburg, South Carolina, for Big Time Wrestling from like Boston, Massachusetts area. They traveled down and did this big they do like old school shows where they'll bring in like Tully Anderson.
Tully Anderson.
Tully
As
Blanchard.
they were known in WWF, by the way. It's just the Brainbusters, Tully Anderson.
The Brainbusters. They'd bring in like Teddy Long, who sold his suits, or Tony Atlas, junk like that. So I'm on I'll say the cool term, I'm on the heel team, and I'm getting my heat. We're just yelling mean things at people in the crowd. And so we're in the ring, and then the guy that is teaming with me is this like straight South Boston accented like little pit bull of a man, but he's decked out in like full on rainbow attire, like just covered in rainbow everything, because that's what real cool heterosexual dudes do, is they just go ahead and assume that every gay man just wears nothing but rainbows and wrestles as such. So I'm just watching, and this like he's yelling at this old guy in the front row, and then old guy like jumps over the guardrail. I was like, oh man, that guy just jumped over the guardrail. Like I'm just standing here watching it. Oh man, he's getting real close. Oh, he's trying to jump up on the apron. That's cute. He hops on the apron and then falls right back off. Oh, that old man fell down. And then the old guy like rolls under the bottom rope, and I'm like, man, security should be coming anytime soon. And then all of a sudden, just this rainbow of a drop kick comes by me, and he like drop kicks this old man in the ribs. Like, this guy was at least 60, 65, 70, and drop kicked him in the ribs and like dropped him onto the hardwood floor. Oh, wait a minute, this is a serious situation. Oh no, oh no. And then like security came, and not even like cops security, like 2 referees and the ring announcer started to rough this old man up and drag him out of the building. I've never been the same since.
And I don't think I've ever been the same since. We're running out of time, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. And guys, thank you so much for coming out here. Like, our first live podcast only had 12 people. There's so many more people here today. Some of you listened during that time. You guys, all of you guys were great. Thank you so much. Trish Stratus will be here in a little bit. But we'll be in the back selling some of our merch. But there's only one way to end a podcast about the wrestler. And it's this. It's the theme song from The Wrestler. We're going out like Randy the Ram, if you couldn't tell. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen.